What are you doing?
We're not going swimming?
No, it's 9 degrees and there's snow outside, knucklehead.
Dang it.
Let's talk about some pools.
Okay.
All right. Let's get this rolling. Talking about some salt and chlorine differences in pools today.
It's a very big possible to talk about, you know?
Yeah, a lot of people talk about it. The differences means a lot to a lot of people. So let's dive right in. Cory, I'm the owner of the Pools by Cory. This is
Alex, service manager.
Yep.
Yep.
We've been doing pools for a long time. We've done a lot of hands-on stuff, so great. You want to start off here?
Yeah. So talking about the two different options, we have the salt chlorine generators and we have a tablet feeder. When you're looking at it, it's two different paths, but it's getting you the same result, and that's putting chlorine in the water. So chlorine's what's sanitizing, killing off any of the bacteria, anything growing in the water. That's what's helping keep that water nice and crystal clear. So we're going to go through, because that's always something we run into is, well, why do I want salt? Why do I want chlorine? You know, well, I have a salt pool. I don't have chlorine. So we just want to highlight this and go over it with you real quick.
Perfect. We put a lot of salt in the pool for chlorine, for a salt generator pool. So you got a charge of salt that goes in there, and off electrolysis, it turns into chlorine through a cell.
Yep.
What levels do we keep the salt level in our generators on our pools?
So on our generators, we use the Hayward generator. It is 2,700 to 3,500 parts per million of salt level. Okay. So it's a lot lower than some of the other ones and some of the older ones where you had to have a lot larger amount of salt in the water to produce your chlorine.
5,000, 5,500, and things like that. So, so that's one of the things that's great for that, because it's lower than what it used to be.
Yep.
The water's smooth, gentle.
Yes, it's nice silkiness in your skin.
Yeah. No harsh chemical smells, no chloramines and stuff like that, because it destroys chloramines.
Not dealing with harsh chemical, period. So, I mean, it's a 40-pound bag of salt that goes directly into the water about once, maybe twice a season, depending on how often you add water to your pool. It's food grade. It comes in a 40-pound bag. You cut it, just dump it directly in the water. It's safe to be in with. You don't have to worry about getting it on your skin and all that stuff when you're adding it to the pool, which is another huge thing for the salt system.
Yeah, that is great. You know, it does. We do a lot of them on our pools. Probably 98% of our pools get the salt
majority.
cells.
Yep.
Of the 100 we've done this year. So we do a lot of those.
It helps reduce chloramines too. And chloramines, if you don't know what that is, that's dirty combined chlorine. That's what's giving you that really heavy, noxious chlorine smell. The salt generator helps reduce that, so you don't run into that as much.
Correct. So what are some of the cons?
Biggest con we see is cost of entry to start. So you are paying for the generator and the cell right up front, your electrical cost to wire it all up. But over the lifespan of that cell, which is anywhere from 4 to 8 years, it greatly reduces the price.
Yeah. So I mean, a new salt system is a couple $1,000s installed.
Yep.
Compared to tablets, which a bucket of tablets goes for
about
what?
$150 for a 25-pound tablet bucket.
Which you'll go to 3 or 4 a season.
Yep.
So the price there is not much difference. Some people talk about, it don't work in cold water, Alex.
So
what do we know about cold water?
Below 60 degrees is kind of your threshold. But when it's cold water, you're not using it as much. You're not growing bacteria. Algae's not growing.
There's no chlorine demand in a pool at 60 degrees.
You don't need the chlorine to be made.
They don't need to make any chlorine. That's why it does it.
Right.
There's no need to make chlorine at 60 degrees because there's no algae growth. Yep. That's why when pools get closed in the winter here in Indiana, when it gets cold out, there's really no need. The pools usually open up pretty clear in the spring.
Even towards the end of the season, we were able to turn that chlorine generator way down, or to the point of even off, because we're not burning off that chlorine because there's not anything growing in the water as well.
pH, I mean, it does drive the pH up, but tablets drive the pH down.
Yep.
So it's, instead of putting pH plus in, you're putting pH minus in.
Yep.
So that's one of the differences. Chemicals are going to probably stay the same on either pool on keeping the pH in balance.
Right. Cleaning the cells, probably your only other downside you really got to deal with, and that's as needed. So the manufacturer for Hayward recommends once a month cleaning your salt cell out. Realistically, these new salt cells are nice and clear. You can see through them when calcium starts building up on the grids. Once you see it start building up, that's when it's time to clean it off, pop it back in the system, you're good to go. So the more you keep it clean, the more you take care of it, the longer it is going to last, which is a benefit for you as well.
Yeah, I think that's like a life expectancy, like an LED bulb. It's going to make so much chlorine over its life.
Yep.
Typical 5 to 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got a lot of life in it and things like that. So what's the things about a feeder here, Alex? What's some drawbacks and pluses about a feeder?
Probably the biggest drawback to a standard tablet feeder is dealing with chlorine tablets. So chlorine tablets are a harsh chemical. They're very noxious. If you get it on your skin, it is going to smell like chlorine for an extended period of time, no matter how long you wash your hands for. If you get any kind of moisture in the bucket, and this is a huge thing.
Yes.
If you get moisture in your bucket of tablets, what's going to happen is it's going to actually activate all those tablets. So what's going to happen is they start breaking down, off-gassing chlorine and stuff. It starts melting kind of the inside of the bucket. So the next time you go to open that bucket, you have a heavy chlorine gas coming off, knocks you in the face. It can take your breath away. It can actually drop you if it's.
It will drop you. Yes, not it can. It can drop you. It's very strong.
Yep.
Drawbacks to storing a lot of chemicals around pools.
Yep.
So that good thing about the salt on that you ain't storing extra chemicals.
Yep. You're not worried about that at all, compared to the tablet feeder.
Yeah.
Other part of the tablet feeder is you have to add tablets weekly. So it also depends on how much you use it, but more often than not, you are at least putting a couple tablets in your pool once a week.
And these feeders, I mean, the tablets corrode the feeders.
Yep.
Enough where sometimes they get gummed up and you can't get the lids off.
Yep.
We get that phone call a lot. Hey, Cory, can you have Alex from the guys come by and open up the chlorinator because I can't get it open?
Typically takes a pair of channel locks and it's a nice little amount of muscle to snap that lid off and stuff. And then that's every time after that doing
Yes. I just like talking about that too because some people talk about the salt corrosion on pools, that it corrodes it. Chlorine's very corrosive as well. How do they make chlorine, Alex?
It's a salt brine.
A salt brine. So they use salt water
to
through electrolysis
to make liquid chlorine.
To put in the pools.
Mm-hmm. So you're putting
adding salt and liquid chlorine to the pool.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, and I was been in the industry for 28 years. You've been in it for 15 now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pools that are non-salt pools, you test salt. What happens? There's salt in that pool, isn't there, from all the chemicals of chlorine.
Yep.
Right. So they use it on everything to make chlorine. So I think the argument is like the pool is no more corrosive.
Yeah.
Being a salt pool or a chlorine pool.
Right.
Because they use the same thing to make the chlorine.
And a big thing too with the salt systems now is they're putting on sacrificial anodes into the system to be the corrosion point. Correct. So you'll get a couple seasons out of it and stuff. We watch them opening and closings. We see them when they corrode. And when they're bad, we pop them out and a new one goes in. And
they've been putting them in the heaters as well. So to help the corrosion there. So it's just like a hot water heater, how they got the anodes in the hot water heaters. They're taking all the corrosion. Same thing for the pool. We put those in all of our pools. So we put those in there. It's a doubles as a water bond as well. So it bonds the water. So there's definitely been some advancements in salt compared to 10, 15 years ago when I started in business. They were salt pools 28 years ago. This is nothing new on the market.
No. Just different way of bonding, different way of doing anodes and stuff like that. They've kind of adapted definitely over the last 10 years. The change after they saw what originally happened, and it's eliminated, a lot of the issues that they saw by doing the couple things. So definitely helps the whole system and expands it. One thing we didn't talk about chlorine tablets is they can bleach. So you get it on your clothing and stuff like that, you're going to start bleaching out clothing. If you have it on your hands, rub it on your pants, something like that, you're going to have a nice white bleach stain through your pants. Being in the pool industry, you've probably done it several times because I know I have.
That's how you tell pool guys around, walking around, you see all the bleach, pant legs.
Yep. You see pant legs, backs of shirts, sides of shirts. You'll see bleach spots somewhere. And that's unfortunately the one downside you have dealing with that is it is that harsh chemical and it can get on your skin, on your clothing and stuff. And all it's going to do is start bleaching it out.
Yep. I agree with that. It's all great stuff.
So basically, though, between both systems, it takes two different roads to get there. One's a little bit easier. One's a little bit more maintenance. Bottom line, it's still chlorine. You're putting chlorine in either way, whether you're doing a salt pool or a chlorine tablet pool. And that's kind of one of the big things we want to get across is that you are still chlorine and you're still seeing the same effects with chlorine in the end.
One thing, again, with the chlorine tied with some automation that they have on the market now that will test your chlorine and keep it perfect for you all the time off the sense and dispense unit.
HL system.
Makes it even easier for homeowners. we swim in our pool. We have it on ours. My wife will say all the time, it's like, I don't even smell or even feel like there's chlorine in the pool. Feel like you're swimming in straight
Fresh
tap
water. Yeah.
fresh water. You'll never taste salt in the water or anything like that.
Yeah, that's the thing of the past too. I mean, since they were able to bring that salt content
Almost
drastically down,
almost in half.
Yeah, you don't get that saltiness taste. You know, you're not going to float in your pool like the Dead Sea and stuff like that. You know, it's nice and gentle and calm water.
Yeah, it's fractions of the ocean.
Yep.
So it's nowhere near salty and things like that. So,
yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
See ya.